Hello, friend, and welcome to Daily Treasure, a devotional podcast by Sharon Betters, produced by Mark Inc. Ministries. This week's guest writer is our friend Pamela Dunn, and I'm your narrator, Jane Ann Wilson. Today's devotional is Surrender. I must stay at your house today. Today's treasure is: Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through, and behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich, and he was seeking to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd he could not, because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." So he hurried and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all grumbled, "He has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner." And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, "Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." Luke 19, 1-10. Jesus entered the city and made his way through, measured and purposeful. Zacchaeus was almost frenetic, his desire to see Jesus hindered because of the crowd, so he ran and hoisted himself up in a tree to catch a glimpse. At the perfect moment, steady met frenzied. Love met longing. Intent met intensity. Jesus was under love's compulsion to save this spiritually hungry tax collector, and would have his way in effecting eternal transformation. When God has a work to do at a specific time, in a specific way, he can be counted on to do it. He may bring particular wisdom, the scriptures' consolation, or palpable comfort. He might open doors to our mess of sin proclivities and wayward affections for deep conviction and cleansing. His end is always that we know him better, love him more, and be sanctified. All he intends to do by way of coming into our house, he must do and will. It's important that we recognize that we are Zacchaeus, small before holy Jesus, and desperately in need of him. Only then will we take time and effort to seek him, to climb above and out of whatever distracts or holds us back, to joyfully receive him into our home, the home of our heart and soul. Only in responding to his love look will we know the blessedness and fullness of salvation. Do we awaken each day with a sense of urgency for Jesus to come and enter our world? Will we do what it takes to make our way to see him clearly without obstruction? Would we invite him to inspect every corner of our minds, all the space of our heart, each room of our schedule and dreams? Would we fling open every closet door, every nook and cranny of confusion and consternation, greed and selfishness, of resentment, fear, and salacious indulgence, and yield to his poking and purifying presence? Would we welcome him not only to come, but to abide until he's finished his work? What impact is the Spirit's power making in my daily life and interactions? How is his presence inspiring my attitudes and efforts in industry? How is he refining my impulses, language, and cravings? What changes is he making in my discernment, my generosity in ministry, and my availability to serve? In what particular areas will we invite him to stay and make a difference today? Lord, may I ever welcome your compulsion to abide with me. By your Spirit, effect every change you intend for your glory. Amen.
Friends, thanks so much for joining us for the Daily Treasure podcast today. It is such a joy and a privilege to be able to share with you the gospel through these devotionals. And it's our prayer always that your hearts are being transformed as ours are being transformed by the scriptures that we are sharing with you. We also appreciate the opportunity to share with you another Help and Hope resource from our Help and Hope podcast. I want to introduce to you Jessica Harris, and our topic in the podcast is Women and Pornography, Breaking the Chains. You know, when you mention pornography, most people think, well, that's a problem for men. And yet, 76% of 18 to 30-year-old American women report that they watch porn at least once a month. And 3% of all women say they either thought they might be addicted or are unsure if they are addicted to pornography. This equates to 3 million women. Now, these stats are from 2018, so it's safe to say the numbers are growing. Is there help for women addicted to pornography? Well, Jessica shares her own story of how pornography drew her in when she was a middle schooler and how she found solace and acceptance through the internet and eventually chat rooms. Jessica describes the secrecy of her addiction and how it led to shame and guilt that she did not know how to break. And then a woman acknowledged to a group of young adult females that pornography addiction was a woman thing too. Suddenly, Jessica had hope that the chains of addiction could be broken. And I am so grateful that Jessica shares her story and her journey as a means of offering hope to others. So make sure you go to helpandhopenow.org. That's helpandhopenow.org, and look for my conversation with Jessica Harris. I know that there is someone listening right now who needs to hear this message of hope. And friends, wherever you are today, whatever pathway God has placed you on, it's our prayer that you will take comfort in knowing that God is sovereign and you can trust Him.